So today we shall be completing clause 7.5, clause 7.6 and total of clause 8. Okay. Uh, and also some sections are some information on how to do internal auditing. Okay, that I'll also discuss. So, I mean, we shall be completing our session today, and maybe later in the evening. Okay, I will give an Google form. I will share a Google form. It's an examination that you need to clear for you to okay. You need to clear that examination for you to get the participating certificate in 13485. Okay, and certificate for internal audit. There will be only one exam in Google form. It will be multiple choice and it will be open exam like. Okay, you can refer to anything and you can attempt it.
Okay, okay.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
And clause, as I said, clause 7.5 and clause 7.6 is also there. Okay. In clause 7, you have 7.5 and 7.6 that is pending. And total of clause 8. In clause 8 also we have subclause of 8.1 to 8.5 which are very important. As I told you, like uh, total clause 7 is important, okay, because it talks about planning of production, planning of design and development, planning of purchasing. Okay, we discussed already the purchasing, okay, design and development. Now we are coming to the planning of how you do the production activities, what are the important things in production activities.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is about clause 7.5, production and service. Okay. So 7.5.1, control of production and service provision. This is, I said, any first subclause, okay, in a clause will be very general. It talks about what you have to do in that particular clause. Okay. What
Okay.
is the planning you need to do? What is the general requirements of that particular clause? So what are the general requirements in production and also in servicing or service provision? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Why this clause is important is to ensure that all operational activities means the manufacturing process. Okay. See, all operational activities that affect quality, product quality. Okay. All the activities in the manufacturing unit that affects the product quality, okay, including manufacturing, storage, installation, servicing, okay. You may ask me, there will be other operational activities, like yes, there will be other operational activities like the maintenance, others that also have to be included, okay, including your, say, manufacturing activities includes everything like your sterilization, verification, validations, okay, all that, your calibrations, all that it will include. And the purchasing other things, of course, the operational activities also includes purchasing, design and development, but they come under separate clause. But this clause is mainly talking about all manufacturing activities, storage, okay, installation and servicing. This is mainly applicable for the medical equipment, okay, medical equipment manufacturers. This is very much applicable because they need to do a lot of installation, servicing, maintenance, all that whenever there is a complaint. And all these activities, you need to know that they affect the product quality. That's why I said clause 6, from clause 6, clause 7 are very, including clause 8 are important, which have direct impact on product quality. So when you have some activities, operational activities which are affecting the product quality, okay, including, I mean, it could be manufacturing, storage, installation, servicing, okay, they have to be properly planned. It's not like you do everything as you like. Okay, this is what I am telling from starting. Anything has to be properly planned. Okay, and it has to be documented. And there should be a continuous plan, monitored and executed under strict control conditions. See, these words are very, very important. They may look very simple, but they have to be planned, and you need to continuously monitor what is happening to those activities. It's not like you start and leave it. Okay. You need continuous monitoring, whether environmental monitoring or the clean room monitoring or the production monitoring or monitoring of the rejected, accepted quantities or why they are getting rejected. Okay, all the validations, verifications, you need continuous monitoring and execute them. Under monitoring, you need to execute them. And the important thing is under strict control conditions. You should have conditions, okay, which are controlled, whether it's environmental conditions or your machine parameters, okay, or any other parameters that affects the product quality. You should have strict controls. Suppose I say you are working in clean rooms or some environment, you should maintain the particulate matter bioburden, temperature, humidity, the pressure inside the room has to be controlled. Okay, whatever temperature or whatever parameters you want, it has to be controlled because any change in this parameter will affect the product quality. Suppose the temperature goes high, okay, in summer the temperature may go up or the particulate sizes may increase. Okay, so you should have control on them. Okay, if we come to the machine, there will be some machine parameters, something like the speed of the machine or the molds of the machine. Okay, whether you are have proper maintenance of them. Okay, there will be a lot of control conditions where you need to do. Okay, not only in manufacturing, even in storage also. When you store your raw material, when you store your finished products, when you store your components, they should have control conditions. Because if you are not having control conditions, the product quality will be affected. Okay, and the safety of the product will be at stake. And importantly, I mean, if you look at the shelf life of the product or the expiry date of the product will come down or it will vary. So this statement may look very simple, but this is the whole intent of clause 5.7.5. Okay, the whole intent of clause 7.5. So all the subclause in 7.5 will be talking of the same thing. How you should uh, work on the operational activities, how you should do manufacturing, okay, how you should plan it, how should maintain it, how should document it, how you should execute it. Okay, all I said manufacturing includes your production, simple activities like your production, okay, measuring and monitoring, okay, your QA, QC tests, all that, how you are monitoring them, your machine validations, verifications, mainly the validation things. Okay, and the it also includes sterilization, which way you are sterilizing, how you have control on the sterilization if you are outsourcing sterilization, and what are the storage. Okay, and all this has to be planned, monitored, executed under control conditions. Okay, whole of the clause 7.5. Okay, if you talk about 7.5.2 or 7.5, there are something like 8 subclause in 7.5 or 8 sections in 7.5. Everything talks about these two sentences only. Okay, but two sentences in detail. Okay, main thing is it requires availability of information. I mean, this is what we said, planning, like you should have a design master record, means it is a design master file. First you should know from R&D whether you got all the design master files, like your SOPs, all the procedures, all the formats of the records, all that you need to first have. Okay, and the specifications. What are the specifications of the product? Before you start any activity on manufacturing or production. Okay, do you have the drawings, design drawings, all the components list, work instructions, process procedures, and quality plans? So these are the document which you require, the information which you require before starting, and use of suitable equipment. Whether you have all the manufacturing equipment that is required to manufacture the device or the component, or assembly of it, or testing equipment, okay, suitable for manufacturing, okay, quality testing, which mainly the testing equipment. Okay, do you have the right equipment? First thing is, do you have the right documentation available? Second one is the right equipment available. Okay, then the third one is monitoring and measuring devices. All inspection, measuring, and test equipment, okay, must be readily available and utilized, and should also have the calibration, and you should know what is the acceptance criteria. Okay, and fourth is the implementation of monitoring. You should define critical parameters that you should monitor and record. Suppose if you are working on a machine, there will be some critical parameters, like, as I said, the speed of the barrel or the flow of the material, or adjusting the flow or the temperatures that are required, okay, in the machine heating coils. Okay, different equipment have different, suppose if you are using some laser machines or RF welding machines, okay, you should have monitoring of the critical parameters in the machine. If you are not monitoring and recording that, see, if you are running from morning to, say, in a general shift, you are running from morning 9 to 5 o'clock. Okay, then you'll have a break for lunch. So when you are running for almost 8 hours, are your parameters, critical parameters, same during starting, in middle, and during the ending? Okay, it should be same. There should not be any change. If there is any change in the critical parameters, then the output what you are getting as in the form of the product, that will change. Okay, so you need continuous monitoring. Sometimes monitoring of the critical parameters has to be done. I mean, sometimes machine only will, some parameters like the temperature, the flow, speed, flow rate, all that, the machine only digitally will provide. Okay, what is the temperature of the machine? What is the flow rate? What is the coil temperature? Everything the machine will only provide. Okay, if you are laser cutting, you'll know what is the design it is producing, at what temperatures it is cutting. Okay, is there any problem during the process in between? Okay, you run for the machine for 1 hour and second hour there is problem. Then monitoring is important so that you should identify in between if there is any problem. Okay, if you're not monitoring and you are continuously running it without monitoring, then first thing is you will get all rejected pieces. Okay, the products will not be safe. And the second thing is you will be wasting lot of time and material. Okay, some you need to do monitoring parameters that you need to monitoring that will be provided by the machine itself. Okay, but the important thing is you need to see that the the systems that are giving you monitoring on the machine. Suppose the machine is providing you temperature. Okay, you should check whether the temperature it is providing is correct or not. So you need to calibrate it. Well, what is the flow rate it is coming? Okay, what is the speed that it is going? So all this you need to calibrate. And some have online monitoring systems, like while it is while the production is going, the machine itself gives what is the thickness, okay, of that polymer or the metal or any fiber. It will only give that this much thickness is coming. There will be a continuous monitoring in high-end equipments. But you need, again I am repeating, you need to see that whatever the machine is providing, okay, is that parameters or the equipment that is installed in the machine, okay, where you are getting the information on monitoring is providing right results or not, okay, or right parameters or not, like you need to calibrate them. And the second monitoring generally happens on online QC. Okay, when the production is happening, you'll have an online QC where QC persons will keep checking pieces randomly. They check more pieces or more products, whether they are components or final devices or after assembly. They check more pieces during the starting, because during the starting the mission has to condition itself. Okay, the starting from time zero, the machine won't acclimatize itself. Okay, the machine takes time based on the type of machine. It takes time. It may take 10 minutes or 15 minutes to adjust all parameters to get it stabilized. Okay, during that time you will have lot of components or the products that will be checked whether they are meeting your specifications or not. It could be simple components. I have an tubing, polymer tubing. Okay, for almost half an hour we'll get lot of waste tubing. Okay, still the system or the machine stabilizes. So you will have online monitoring. You keep measuring the tubing thickness, okay, elasticity of the tubing, ID, OD, and all that. Online testing will happen more while you start the machine. Okay, once it stabilizes, then you'll have a continuous flow. Then also you keep online QC, okay, online testing to see that, I mean, that time the sampling will be less. Okay, but however, after completion of your production, then you'll have the final QC. Okay, you randomly check, or sometimes you may do 100% checking. Some you do on sample size. Okay, it depends upon the risk of the product. Suppose there will be some high risk products, high risk devices like class 3, or in India we call class D. Okay, where you need to check every piece, where you need to test in your QC almost every piece or every component or product. But some class A or low risk or class B, where you need to check on sampling basis on what you call AQL, acceptance quality level. Okay, AQL 0, there will be AQL table where suppose if you are producing 1,000 pieces, how many you need to test. Okay, that table you need to follow. I will share that table also. Suppose if you are producing in a batch 500 numbers, how many you need to test, and that too random. Okay, so here monitoring will happen on the machine itself, how the machine parameters are working. Monitoring will happen online. Okay, when the machine is running or when the production is happening. Online will also, I mean, monitoring will also happen. Okay, when you have the final products or finished products, that too based on how many samples you have produced in that shift and what is the risk of the devices or the components. If they are high risk, then you'll have more sampling. Okay, more samples you need to test. Okay, if again it depends upon whether they are destructive testing or non-destructive. Some you need to destruct the devices or the components. If you are destructing it, you can't test every device. So there you'll randomly select some sample on AQL basis. AQL is acceptance quality level. If it is a non-destructive test, okay, like measuring the ID, OD, surface defects, all that. Generally, you test all the samples microscopically, all that. There will be some tests where you need to destruct the sample. Suppose I'm looking at elongation or the radial strength, all that. For that, we need to sacrifice or destruct the sample. For that, we can't test every device. So we'll go for an very uh, perfect sampling number. Okay, and that too random, so that if there are any defects, it should be able to identify based on your sampling plan. So sampling plan becomes very important when you are doing non-destructive tests. Okay, and there will be many people follow AQL table. Okay, like how many you have produced, how many you have to test, and that testing has to happen randomly, not in sequence. Not that you are testing first 10 or last 10, okay, or in middle 10. That you can do online. First you can, when you are doing online QC, you can check first 10 in middle, like last you can test. But in the finished QC, you need to do a random, okay, random sampling. Suppose you have produced 100 pieces and you are testing 10 pieces, okay, then you should have a random sampling. Like when you pick up the pieces, it may come in 21st piece or 39 piece or 69 or 99 or 81. It has to be random. Okay, I'll tell you how to do randomization of sampling, because it should not come in like it's not like I'll test only first 10 samples or middle from 48 to 58 I'll test or the last. So randomization is very important in sampling process, and sample size is also very important. That is about monitoring. And workmanship is about the skills of the personal human resources or personal working with the machines, not only with the machines in production, but also on the skills they have, okay, in their QC, how they are testing, how quickly are they testing, how accurately they are testing, okay, how they are recording it, do they have documentation skills or testing skills, okay. Different persons will have different, some need microscopic skills, like they should, some detect a lot of defects very easily under microscope, some may not detect. There will be some based on experience just by seeing the sample, okay, or the component, they will say that there is a problem with it. It comes through experience, but you should not consider that which comes through experience. Still, you need to cross check with your equipment that what you are getting is right or wrong. Okay, or so clear documented criteria, visual standard, acceptance must be specified to ensure the product meets defined quality levels. So what is the criteria for this? Okay, you should have all technical specifications for the components, okay, where they have to be rejected, accepted. Okay, I'll come to that. Some can be reworked. Okay, some in equipment, some can be repaired. Because if the product is of high cost, something like if the product is costing around 10,000 or some products I see costing around 50,000, okay, you can't reject them like that. There is a provision in the clause, you can rework on that and make it acceptable. Okay, there will be some parameters based on that you will reject it, but not like that if they are costly, where you can rework. So that when you are reworking, you need to be careful that you are meeting the acceptance criteria and you are not inducing any new risk to the device. Okay, and there will be also repair. Repair is for medical equipment. You can't reject equipment because they are very costly. So either during repair, uh, what you will do is either you will replace the spare parts, okay, with new spares, or you will keep changing a lot of things. You will do a lot of adjustments, okay, things that really makes the machine work and work effectively. So there will be a lot of things in workmanship. Okay, of course there is separate clause on rework, repair, rejection, all that. Okay, prevention of contamination. Okay, you must see that uh, it's not like you should prevent contamination of only sterile products. Any product you should see that you don't have contamination, like either your production should happen in clean rooms, okay, or clean rooms have different classes like class 100 is the one which is basically the cleanest, because when you say class 100, which means 1 square feet of area, okay, 1 square feet of area, you will have only 100 particles. Okay, basically you will find that in a laminar airflow, under the laminar airflow unit, you will have class 100. So under 1 square feet, you will have 100 particles only. That is the cleanest. It's very difficult to reach class 10. Okay, class 10 means under 1 square feet, you will find 10 particles. Okay. So some way work under class 1 lakh, class 10 lakh. Generally people don't work under 10 lakh. 10 lakh is for the corridors. Okay, where you keep walking, then you enter into the clean room. Okay, class 10,000, class 10 lakh means in a square feet you find 10 lakh particles. Okay, so mainly in the walking corridors, other rooms you'll find it. But mainly in the manufacturing, either you'll find class 1 lakh or class 10,000. Okay, some critical devices, you may manufacture some critical activities. You have to manufacture either under class 1000 or class 100. So to prevent the contamination, not only particulate contamination, okay, biological microbial contamination, and to prevent mix-up. Okay, that's why I said initially, when you have unidirectional flow of the material, okay, the material should not come back. when it comes back, in your manufacturing flow, there could be a chance that the rejected accepted get mixed up. Then that will cause problems to know what is rejected and what is accepted. For that, what we'll do is whatever is rejected has to be identified and labeled and segregated. Okay, there is a clause on that also. What rejected pieces, what you will do. Okay, cross contamination and environmental degradation of the product. So environmental degradation is you meant to maintain the temperature and humidity in that rooms. Okay. So clause 7.5.2 is cleanliness of the product and contamination control. Okay. This whole of this is talking what I have discussed in 7.5.1. Okay. Documentation, equipment, monitoring and measuring, implementation of monitoring, workmanship, prevention of contamination. All this will come in this, okay, subsequent subclauses. See, cleanliness of product and contamination control. This I already explained in the point 6, how you prevent contamination. Okay. If you look at 7.5.3, installation activities. Okay, servicing activities, mainly for equipment. Okay, this is regarding sterile medical devices. What are the requirements for sterile medical devices? Then comes the important one, validation process. Okay, validation of sterilization, identification, traceability. Okay, property of customers, preservation of product. So you have lot of subclause in 7.5. See, clause 7 is a big one. You have 7.1, 7.2. It talks about planning, all that. 7.2 talks about customer communication. 7.3 talks about design and development. 7.4 talks about purchasing. In each 7.4, you have different sections. 7.3, I said, design and development, you'll have design planning, input, output, verification, validation, design transfers. In purchasing, you have three important clauses. What are the requirements of purchasing? Okay. After requirements, what is the purchasing information? After purchasing information, how you do the communication or inspection of the purchased material. So all that will come. But as said, 7.5 is mainly talking about production, and it will have lot of almost 7.5 has 10 to 11 sections. Okay. And 7.1 talks general requirements, as said, documentation requirement or information required for production and other activities. Okay. And why we are doing all this? Okay, why you need workmanship, monitoring, measuring, suitability of equipment, contamination control. All this is to produce a product, a good product or a quality product. Okay. For a quality product, you need to follow all this to produce a quality product that is safe to the patient. See, whenever you talk on quality product, there will be two things. One is safety and the other is performance. Okay. In drugs or in pharmaceuticals, we call it safety and efficacy. Efficacy also means performance of the device. But in devices, we don't call efficacy, we call it as performance. So quality includes, it should have safety and performance. So in your point of view, which one is more important, safety or performance?
Safety.
Yeah, for any product, safety is primemost, then comes performance. If your product, yeah, any product should perform, but if it is not performing, it should not cause any harm to the patient. Safety is utmost. See, if the patient comes, your device should not cause more harm. He comes with a problem. We should not cause more problem to him. If you are not doing any performance or efficacy, if you are not treating the problem, but you should not aggravate the problem or cause more problem. Okay. If you cause more problem, that is really a criminal. Like a patient comes with some problem and you are causing more problem because of your device. Okay, so safety is important. If you are not doing good, you have to do good. Okay, based on the performance of the device, you should treat the patient. If you are not treating, okay, still fine. But if you are doing more problem to the patient, adding to what he already has, no, that is something, I mean, which is legally unacceptable. I mean, you can go to the court also. Okay, that's why in US and West, lot of regulations are legal binding. Okay, if you are doing harm to the patient can go to the consumer court. Okay, and I have seen a lot of cases where the company has to pay money. And the other thing is the products, mainly the high risk classes products will have what we call PLI. Okay, it won't be there in this class. In India, we don't do it. PLI is product liability insurance. Do you know about PLI?
And also first time I heard.
Yeah, PLI is product liability insurance, mainly for high risk devices. If there is any safety issues or problems that is caused by the product, okay, actually the product will be insured. The company should insure the product if there is a high risk product. If the product is causing any harm to the patient, okay, each product will have what you call insurance. Okay, something like life-saving devices like heart valves or stents, or some devices like high-risk devices like corneal lenses or orthopedic implants. If they're causing some morbidity or some problem or including death, okay, based on that, the device will have a PLI, product liability insurance. If the device is causing problem, okay, each device, based on the device, they have to pay money. Okay, like it could be 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs if the patient is, okay, they have to pay 10 lakhs. If it is a user error because of the hospital, then that is a different case. Because the doctor has created the problem, that case will go on the doctor. Okay, but if it is a problem with the device, so that's why many companies, not in India, insure the product, insurance to the product, like how we insure we have life insurance, health insurance. They ensure they do insurance to the product. If the product is causing any problem, okay, they will get the money, what the product, how much the product is insured for. Okay, if it is a life saving, it will be very high. Okay, and this cleanliness and product and contamination control, as I already discussed, the intent is to prevent contamination from foreign matter. Okay, foreign particles are the particles coming from outside. Okay, residues. Residues are the one which come from inside. Okay, if you are doing production, there will be some residues or leftovers. Okay, uh, or some small particles of the leftover while you are doing production, small plastic particles or some metal particles. Okay, that are called residues. Foreign matter is that comes from outside into the machine or outside into the production area and causes contamination. Residues are that comes basically from inside only. And bioburden. Bioburden is the microbial contamination. It could be any microbe. But you should see that the microbe levels are as low as possible. And you should also see the microbes are not contagious. Okay. Otherwise, it will mainly microbes comes from uh, personnel. Okay, working personnel, if they have any diseases, generally there will be a lot of microbes in humans. Okay, when we actually our skin sheds lot of microbes. Okay, and inhalation while you are inhaling, exhaling, it sheds. So that's why when you work in clean room gowning or clean room dressing is very important. You should cover with cap. A lot of uh, particulate matter or microorganisms come from hair, okay, from skin, from nose, okay, from your feet. So you have to cover all this. Here you'll cover with cap or you use mask for nostrils and you use separate clean room dress, okay, so that particles won't shed from the skin, and you'll have separate footwear. Okay, some are disposable footwear, some are disposable plastic footwear, like some are permanent, which can be cleaned. And this has to be regularly cleaned. Okay, with the antiseptics. Uh, all clean room dresses has to be regularly cleaned. Actually, that is the big work for any housekeeping persons, cleaning out the even in the hospitals also. Okay, bioburden that could adversely affect the device cleanliness, performance, and patient safety. Suppose if there is a foreign matter, residues, bioburden, okay, this ultimately will affect the patient safety. It will cause infection. Okay, if there are too many particulate matter, foreign particles, and you are using intravenously inside the body. Okay, any foreign particle will cause some allergic reactions or they may form clots in the blood, which becomes dangerous. If there are infections, it may affect any part of the body or it may cause infection throughout the blood. We call sepsis. Okay, these are very important. Cleanliness of product. Okay, if the product requires cleaning prior to sterilization, some products are cleaned before you sterilize, some products are clean. You may ask me like anyway we are sterilizing, why to clean it? Because when the bioburden is more, you need to clean it because sterilization alone may not kill all organisms. Okay. And if sterilization kills all organisms also, the microbes, the bioburden of the microbes after sterilization, see the dead microbes becomes endotoxin. Endotoxins are more dangerous than microscopes because endotoxins they cause immediate effect. Immediate effect of the device is kept in the body within minute or 5 minutes. You will find the effect of the endotoxins. That's why in microbiology you check for okay sterility studies whether it is sterile or not. Okay, whether it is what is the bioburden levels bioburden can't be zero. There will be different bioburdens like 20 I see colonies per units or endotoxins. The third is endotoxins. Endotoxin is how many units, international units of endotoxins are there. And some devices require zero endotoxin. Some devices in the sense mainly when you go to biologicals, vaccines, okay, there you require are blood bags, blood transferring products or placental storage bags, platelet storage bags, because they come under medical devices. So where you should have zero endotoxin. For some levels of endotoxins are, this will be as per Indian pharmacopoeia or European pharmacopoeia, you should have some control levels on that. But before sterilization, you should clean the product. Okay, you can clean with I mean with ethanol or some hydrogen peroxide, but you should see that whatever cleaning agent you are using should not affect the product. Okay, either you can just clean if there are any particulate matter. You can keep them using a vacuum pump or high pressure air. You can clean them, particulate matters. If they are microorganisms, you can clean them with spirit or ethanol or with hydrogen peroxide so that the bioburden or microorganisms come down. When it come down, the endotoxin levels also will come down because the microorganisms have come down. So the sterilization becomes easy. Okay. And control of residues. I said residues are the one which comes inside the production unit. Something like residues, the procedures must be in place to remove the residues from manufacturing. Okay, when you are manufacturing the residues of the product, small, very small, uh, very, I mean, like in microns, or sometimes there could be big residues also. And some of the lubricants, okay, which are used in the machines, some of the cleaning agents that generally we use for cleaning the machines. Before we start, we use a change control or we clean it up. Okay, if you are doing, suppose if you are using two materials or if you are manufacturing two products on the same machine. Okay, what I'm telling?
Manufacturing two instruments.
Yeah, if you are manufacturing two products of different material on the same machine. Okay, what generally we do is after manufacturing one product, we should do a change control. Change control means you should see all the material that is used during the manufacturing of the first product are totally removed. Okay, the manufacturing area or the production area is clean of the first product you have manufactured. And the most important thing is you need to clean total machine, the internal parts also, the molds and the other things, so that the residues of your first product may not come into your second product. So that is very, very important. Change control, okay, when you are doing change control, many a times we do this in SMEs or small and medium companies. We use same machines for production of 2-3 products or manufacturing of 2-3 products. But this is very important. Otherwise, what happens is the residues or some of the material that is used for the first product may carry, it is called as a carryover effect. Okay, it will carry to the second product and that will cause a lot of problem. Okay, to the machine it will cause problem and to the product it will cause problem. So you need to see all these residues are removed or the lubricants are cleaned. Otherwise, The lubricants may spill over to the product, okay, and the cleaning agents are removed. Okay, the third is control of contamination. If the device is supplied for devices supplied clean but not sterile. See here, first point we discussed about sterile products, but still we are cleaning. But there will be some non-sterile products, but still you have to supply them clean because just they are non-sterile, you can't supply them as you like. So for them, you need to use, okay, non-sterile or device sensitive to environment factors like electronic components, implants, okay. Contamination control procedure must cover personal, facility, and material movement. So those which you are providing non-sterile also, you see that the particulate matter, there won't be any particulate matter and less bioburden. Okay, you can't make it zero because you are not sterilizing them. You can't uh, say that this is a sterile product because you are supplying as an unsterile, but at least you see that the bioburden is less and the particle size is particle count is less. Okay, and how to do that? Either, as I said, you blow it with high pressure blower or vacuum, apply vacuum, or you clean it with some spirit so that it won't affect the product. Like the electronic components or implements, all this. And importantly, you should, this is very important. Okay, you should look at the personal facility, whether the person is aware of, okay.
Sir,
Yeah, yeah, one second.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. You have any question?
Like uh, like detailed requirements like this all single point will also in ask in like interview, or this each point it will help in like during
No, they
document.
won't ask in audit, but they will, it will help you. Like you should have all SOPs for this. Okay,
Okay.
how you are controlling contamination, how you are controlling residues, how you are cleaning, SOP for cleaning of machines, SOP for all this, SOP for your gowning in clean rooms, okay, for personal, how is the material movement, SOP for material movement, okay, because this happens through the material don't come from the main doors. Okay, material come from what we call pass boxes.
Yes.
Okay, there will be pass boxes. It will be a high pressure. There will be small box on, like in the wall only. They will make stainless steel small space boxes where from one room to other room it can be shifted or transferred. Like the material or raw material or the finished products in the caters. So you don't move material from, bring material from. Doors are only for men movement or man and man movement, or if you are transferring any machines, you can use the doors. Okay, material is by using passport. Okay, so you need to control. That's why I said most of the contamination comes from either the material or the manpower, okay, or from external resources. And the third I said internally from the machine. So for all this, you will have lot of SOPs. Okay, how you clean the machines, how you have to do the clean room dressing, how you clean the clean rooms, including how much detergent you have to use for cleaning the clean rooms, how you do validation of the clean rooms, okay, how you do the particulate count, how you do the bioburden count in the clean rooms. All this will have an SOPs. Okay, that's why the bulk of the SOPs will be there mainly in manufacturing, production, and QC. Okay, that's why I am. And the next one, what you rightly asked is the clean room management. How you manage the clean rooms. Okay. If production takes place in controlled environment, clean room, the facility must be monitored, classified. This is what I told you. Classified is whether it is class 100 or class 1000 or class 10,000. Just now I told you class 100 means in 1 square feet you should have only 100 particles. Okay, and maintained according to international standard. This is ISO 1464. This is the standard for clean room management. Okay, how to maintain clean rooms, how to do the classification of clean rooms. So this is on clean room management. Okay, so 7.5.2 is cleanliness of product and contamination control. This is very important clause because every company has to follow, and you have, I know, like there will be 30-40 SOPs for this. Okay, installation activities, these are applicable, as I said, some 2-3 days back when you are writing the scope. Okay, it may not be applicable for some devices or some manufacturing companies or some product. It is basically applicable, okay, for mainly the medical equipment, either medical equipment used for manufacturing or medical equipment used for measurement, okay, and monitoring. So this installation activities. Way to ensure that the performance of medical device depends on correct on-site installation. Okay, the installation carried out correctly and verified as function before clinical use. You have a lot of devices, like I said, a lot of diagnostic devices. Okay, you have MRIs, you have X-rays, all this equipment. Okay, you should know like what is the place on site, how you need to install it. So what is the right place to install? What is the environmental controls it should install, where you need to install, and how they have to be interconnected. This all come under SOMED, software as a medical device, where you need to look at all electric safety, electromagnetic safety, okay, and also what you call insulation safety. So there will be even the environmental safety. Okay, you have guidelines for this that is called IEC 62305 guidelines or standards. How you should work on these installations. Okay, the installation should be done in such a manner that they are correctly done, verified. Okay, before a clinical use, before I am using some equipment, okay, for a clinical use, I am doing an X-ray or I am doing an MRI. I should see that it is properly installed, verified, okay, that it is giving the right results. When I do diagnosis, it should not give any false reports, false results. You should install in such a manner, okay, and you should also verify in such a manner that it gives the right results during the clinical use. Okay, and basically for installation they will have a standard procedures like installation procedures, how we should do. A comprehensive validated procedure must be used which specify the preparation of the site. First, you need to preparation the room where you are installing, whether what flooring it should have. There should not be any slope or ups and downs in the flooring. Whether the flooring should be epoxy coated or the flooring can be of tiles. If you have tiles, what type of tiles you should have? Okay, it's granites or normal tiles. All this become very, very important. And the room should not have any vibrations. Okay, the floor should not have any vibrations because in many industries you see like the floors or the walls will have vibrations. Okay, vibrations which you don't detect, but there will be vibrations which you can detect using lot of equipment. Why these vibrations come is in most of the manufacturing unit you have on your top floor, okay, the centralized HVAC system or air handling units, okay, or centralized, in general we call it as centralized AC system. See, this centralized AC system in top floor, because there will be a lot of machines there working, okay, lot of machines, coolants, all that working, lot of pressure will be there to pump the air inside the big facility. It causes a lot of vibrations. Vibrations will be there on the walls and in the uh, floor. So you should see that there will not be any vibrations. The floors are ready. There should not be any ups and downs on the floors. All this will be given in the installation procedure. Okay. And how you calibrate, what are the calibration steps for the equipment and personal qualifications required. Then you do verification. What is verification? Okay. You give the, you have some inputs. You should look at outputs are matching or not. Okay. Suppose I diagnosis, I am doing an X-ray. Okay. And I do the X-ray of the person whom I have already had an X-ray. Okay, X-ray on an already installed equipment. I take the X-ray of that person in that another machine, which is installed, calibrated, servicing, everything is good. So I take the X-ray of that person. Then with the installed machine, new machine, installed machine, I'll take X-ray of the same person. Okay. Then I compare these two X-rays, whether they are same or there is any difference. Because the first machine is already working well, installed, serviced, and it is installed in separate, as per separate installation procedures, it should be working well. Then I compare it with the newly installed one and see whether both are coming or same. Then I take the opinion of the radiologist or the doctor who is the specialist. Will take the opinions whether any differences are there, is it coming fine? Okay, that we call it verification, and then we'll maintain the records. It will have an installation record. Okay, what we generally call IQ, OQ, PQ. IQ is installation qualification. OP is because after installing, you should see that it is properly installed and qualified. That is installation qualification. Operation qualification. Okay, while you are operating the machine or equipment, you should see all systems are working well, all spares are working well in that. Okay, the third is performance qualification. Okay, if installation qualification is fine, operation qualification is fine, then you look at performance, how it is performing, whether it is giving the right results, right diagnosis. Okay, That is called performance. So you need to record everything from IQ, OQ, PQ, and then you need to document it and give it to the owner of that. Okay, and everybody has to sign that, okay, this installation is done, IQ is done, installation qualification, operation, and all this is done. Okay, then the servicing activities. Because any machine, any equipment there will be wear and tear of the spares or wear and tear of the machine. Basically, we understand, okay, every year the machine will have any machine. This is very general, not just for medical equipment. There will be 10% depreciation in the machine performance every year. Okay, machine performance comes down by 10%. So ideally seeing, I mean, it could be applied to any machine, automobiles also. So ideally looking at it, the machine basically, the performance will become zero after 10 years. Okay, every year if it is coming down by 10%, after 10 years, the performance of the machine will become zero. That is why servicing is very, very important, wherein you need to change the spares, regular maintenance, regular oiling, lubrication. How do we do for our vehicles? Okay, changing the lubricant oil or what you call that, engine oils, all that, applying lubricants, changing the spares. For machines also, servicing is very important. If you are not properly servicing them, okay, the performance of the machine will come down and it will give you the wrong results, or it may not work at all. Okay, so to ensure necessary servicing, maintenance, or repair is performed in a controlled manner that maintains the safety and performance of the device throughout its lifespan. So throughout the lifespan of the device, if you are using the machine for 10 years or 20 years or 15 years, generally the technology, to my knowledge, the technology generally changes. Any technology changes after 10 years. Okay, new technology will come. Okay, I'm changing, total change in technology. Okay, in between what happens is, with the existing technology, we'll make some changes, we make it better. Suppose, I mean, it happens in any product, not I am telling medical devices, but it's better applicable for medical devices. The technology of that's why we call SOTAs. SOTA is state of art technology. The state of art technology changes. Okay. In some cases, it may remain as same. See, like if there is bleeding earlier, we used to use some cotton or sterile cottons like that. Now we have a technology where there are devices better than cotton. We call hemostats. Okay, like gelatin sponges. In surgeries, there's a lot or oxygenated, regenerated cellulose. There are a lot of technology that has changed. So when a device is used towards its lifespan, you should see that the safety and performance of the device won't change from day one, okay, till you use the lifespan, till the end of the lifespan of the device. And for that, what you need to do? You need to do maintenance, you need to do servicing, okay, which includes a lot of changing of spare parts. Spare parts are the one which generally run continuously. Then when they run, there will be wear and tear of these spares, okay, and you should replace the spares. If there is continuous problem with wear and tear, then there is a problem with the machine. Okay, that you need to take it seriously. But generally, after a year or two, you change the spares. you keep new lamps or new UV lights or infrared lamps. For MRI, you will keep new magnetic resonances. Okay, uh, different parts will be changed so that it will give performance throughout the lifespan of the device. Okay, that is servicing activities, and you should have a control documentation. Okay, what is the servicing activities? Before you start, you should have procedures for what are the procedures, servicing manuals, what are the approved parts list, and approved parts, because these spare parts are very, very important. That's why I said, like, if there is change in technology, okay, after 10 years, if there is change in technology and new technology comes, these parts won't be available because nobody manufactures that parts. Okay. Still, I am using some Fiat or Ambassador. It's very difficult to get the spare parts for that because except few servicing centers, nobody repairs uh, Ambassador or Fiat. Okay, they are outdated. The technology has changed, and I'm just quoting the automotive so that you can understand better. But in general, that's why I said once the technology changes, we have to move with the technology because becomes difficult to get maintenance done, spares, getting the spares, okay, spare parts. So you should get approved spare parts, okay, because some people, okay, I've seen this in Gujarat and Amar a lot. They won't buy from the supplier spares. Okay, they manufacture their own spares exactly like how it looks. Okay, because they are good in replicating or copying the spares and doing that spares as required. Okay, for many spares they do by themselves. They won't purchase it from the supplier, supplier of the machine or the manufacturer. But it is always good that you should use the original spares, approved spares. Okay, the manufacturer equivalent and may use for repair, and traceability and replacement must be maintained. You should know the traceability of that, like when I changed it. Okay, this year I changed it. Okay, when is the next time I have to change it? You know predictability, traceability, like after 1 year or after 100 uses or after 10,000 uses, I have to change this spare. So you should have traceability of the parts and when to change the part, that you should maintain in your documentation. Okay, of course, service records, whenever you do servicing, there will be records. Analysis of the service reports, these are very, very important. Okay, once the servicing is done, you need to analyze and take feedback from the customer, like how we take feedback from the for medical devices. For equipment also we need to take feedback after servicing how the machine is working. Okay, and you should analyze the trends, like in medical devices, like which parts, spare parts are getting replaced more, where which parts are getting more service, where you need more servicing, in which in the equipment which are getting, okay, tear and wear very quickly. Okay, you should know the trend analysis in that machine, what is happening with that. Okay, the health of the machine, how to take care of it, how many times you are doing maintenance. Okay, if there are any recurring problems after you do servicing and the next day there is a problem, same problem, then what you need to do. Okay, and potential complaints, there will be a lot of complaints from this equipment which says that it is giving all false results. Okay, non-conformities we call. and need design or manufacturing process. If there is a new machine, okay, new technology that came in, because you see, I see it in MRI or CT scan, there are new technology that is coming in. Of course, the foundation of the technology is, the principles are the same, but the performance of the machines are improving. Like in MRI, you have much better sensors where they can scan each and every cell. Okay, and I told like all the machines are now, diagnostic machines are integrated with AML. Okay, where you get directly the diagnosis report. Okay, where the AML AI will create based on your scan, it you will directly get the report. Okay, and this already happened and happening. So if it is a new design, what are the design changes that has to be made? Any manufacturing process has to be changed. So analysis of services reports is very important. Like you can apply what are the corrective actions, CAPA you can apply. You need to see the root cause analysis. You should treat this like a complaint. Complaint analysis, how we do in medical devices. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then, yeah, then there is, then comes to 7.5.5, 7.5.6. Mainly 7.5.5 is about requirements of sterile medical devices. If you are manufacturing sterile medical devices, okay, of course you do sterilization. What are the tests you do? You do sterility test, endotoxin test, bioburden test, all these tests you do. But before sterilization, what you should do? Okay, to ensure integrity of the sterile barrier system, the packaging and the control of bioburden are maintained before the sterilization process begins. So what is sterile barrier system? Suppose I have kept my device in a pack, okay, and sterilized it. Okay. After sterilization, I should see that after sterilization, there should not be any microorganisms again coming inside or ingressing from the package into the device. Okay, I already sterilized. Generally, we sterilize the devices after packing. Okay, what we call it as sterile barrier system, or we use some pouches. Basically, everybody will use Tyvek pouches because it has pores, lot of pores, wherein that can be sterilized. But after sterilization, that barrier, okay, that sterile barrier system should not, once I take that sterile product outside, there should not be any intrusion or coming of these microorganisms through the packing or the barrier systems into the device. Okay, otherwise it will again become contaminated. Okay, so that is the important of sterile barrier system or packing. What is the control you have? Okay, procedures for packing assembly, inspection, handling must be designed to prevent damage to the sterile barrier system that could compromise sterility after processing. You should see that the packing what you are using as a sterile barrier system should not get damaged while you are sterilizing or after sterilizing or during transportation. If there is a damage, okay, then the organisms will come back into the device which is already sterilized and becomes contaminated. So that's why sterile barrier system is very important. And control of bioburden. This already I discussed. You should always control bioburden in your room by way of cleaning your machines, cleaning your rooms with antiseptic agents, or cleaning the devices. Okay, I told like though you are sterilizing them, but still you need to clean so that the bioburden will come down. You clean with spirit or even simple water, or you flush it with some water. Okay, so that the microorganisms will come out, or you flush it with air. Okay, if it is inside the lumen in plastic, you can flush it with air. The particles bioburden will become less. It's not that it becomes zero, but it will become less. Okay, or clean it with some antiseptics like ethanol or spirit or hydrogen peroxide, and you maintain a lot of detergents for cleaning your rooms. And you also periodically monitor what is the bioburden in your rooms. Okay, every week or every 15 days, you monitor the bioburden. There are different ways to monitor bioburden. One is settle plate. Settle plate is you keep some petri plate with, there will be a lot of media, soya bean media or fluid thioglycolate media. With that media, you keep the petri plates. Okay, that is settle plate method. Okay, if there are any organisms, they fall on the petri plate, and once you keep it in the incubator, okay, uh, or bio cabinet or biological incubator, then the organisms will grow. Then you can count the number of colonies and you exactly know what is the bioburden on it. That is settle plate method. Okay, you keep it in different parts of the clean room. Okay, you keep at the machines, you keep at the pass box, you keep at the doors. Okay, you keep at the HVAC inlet units. Okay, and the other way is to do air sampling. Okay, settle plate method is the organism will settle on the petri plate. Air sampling is you have air samplers, equipment called air samplers. From air you can pick up, okay, some volume of air, and that air is flushed on the petri plate with the media. So you will also know how much in the air the bioburden or the microorganisms are there, and also on the floor, okay, by settle plate method. So you need to continuously monitor what is the bioburden. It should be under control. There are some standards, as I mentioned. There is ISO standard, how much the bioburden in each clean room should be. Okay. The ISO 14644 is the standard. For each clean room, if it is class 1000, class 100, how much the particle count, how much the bioburden. So it should not cross the limit. So regular monitoring of the bioburden, particulate matter is very important. Either you do by settle plate method or air sampling. Okay. The first one is sterile barrier system. Okay. Sterile barrier system is the one packing which you use on sterile devices. Okay. Before you sterilize, you pack them and you sterilize them. Once you sterilize them, this barrier system won't allow ingress or intrusion of the microorganisms inside the sterile device. Okay. If there is any damage that happens while handling or transportation of the medical device, okay, then what happens? The microorganisms may go inside the sterile device and it may become contaminated. So you should see that the packing is, you should have total packing validation, control on the packing, control on the sterile barrier system, and you should have control on the bioburden, whether you are maintaining in the clean rooms, maintaining on the device, maintaining different types, like either you may clean the device or you clean the rooms with antiseptic and periodic monitoring. Okay, that's why we give packaging work instruction, how to open the package. You can't open a medical device package as you like. Okay, just you can't tear it as you like. There will be instructions for opening. Okay, that is packaging instructions opening or work instruction, biomonitoring, bioburden monitoring data. As I told, every week or 15 days you need to monitor the bioburden, and environmental controls like humidity, temperature, and pressure. Okay, all this has to be monitored for sterile medical devices. Okay, 7.5.6 is validation of processes for production and service. Now, this I already discussed in design and development also. What is validation? Okay, validation is a process where, okay, wherein you test the devices, okay, or sometimes you test the machinery, that it is consistently producing, okay, the required product, okay, which are the specified product for that particular intended use. There are 3 points here. Why we do validation? Validation means that it should produce, the process should produce consistently. How consistent? I told the other day, generally we expect 100% consistency. If I produce 100 devices, it should produce 100 devices. Okay. But practically it's not possible. That's why I said the confidence intervals will be 99%, not 100. No device can be produced 100% consistently. There will be one rejection that could happen. Okay, but I told the other day, validation we use lot of statistics. In statistics, I said we'll use confidence intervals. So 99% of the times that machine should produce devices, okay, consistently of specified parameters. Okay, what are the technical specifications I have for a particular intended use? For what I am using the device? Okay, I am using some cotton or some IV set or some stunt, or for that intended use, it should produce the device consistently. Okay. Consistently means within the specified technical parameters. Okay, that is what we call validation. Okay. See, inspection is capable of consistently achieving planned results. What are planned results? See, results should be planned. In many a times in planning only we tell like, this is what I told you. I expect when I produce 100 pieces, I want 99% accepted and only 1% rejected. That is planned results. After you do the processing or after you do the manufacturing, you don't tell the results. Before manufacturing only, you should able to know what will be the result. Then only you can do production planning. Okay, if I know my rejection is 1%, okay, instead of manufacturing 99 or 100, I will do 101 because at least one is getting rejected. So I'll at the end I'll get 100 devices. So that are called planned results. Before only you need to plan what your results will be. Not after manufacturing or after processing, you should know how many got accepted and rejected. Okay. Which means the process works before using if you are routine program. You should know the process before working on it. Okay. This you have in this validation plan and protocol, personal qualifications. What are the skills or qualifications of the person who need to work on it? Okay, if it requires, sometimes if it is not producing consistent results, then you need to do the revalidation. Okay, periodically you need to do revalidation. If there is any problem that it is not producing consistent results. Okay. Then validation of sterilization and sterile barrier systems. I said what is sterile barrier system, and sterilization validation is very important. Whatever you do, I mean, whichever you do steam sterilization, hot air sterilization, ethylene oxide sterilization, gamma sterilization. There are different types of sterilization. So when you do sterilization, you need to validate it. Again, I told what validation means because I explained to you, you don't do validations, okay, every day or even every month. You do validations periodically after 6 months or 1 year, or you do validations when the spares are changed, you do validation, or when the location of the equipment is changed from one place to other place, you do validation. If it is not consistently producing, okay, the consistently producing the devices, or if there are more rejections, then you do the validation or revalidations. But why we do validations periodically, not daily? See, verifications you can do daily because once you get, you know what is the output, you know what should be the input. So you compare, you do a QC test, you will get some results. Okay, that is the output. And you already know the input. Input is your technical parameters, final technical parameters, which you will get as a sheet. See, this should be the parameters for acceptance or rejection. If the parameters are within, if the test parameters are within this, you accept it. Or if they are above this or short of this, then you reject it. Okay, that is your input, technical parameter. Output is your device after testing your device. Okay, you will get some results. Then you compare your outputs with inputs. So that you will be doing daily as QC test, online QC or finished QC to see whether your test reports are within the technical parameters. That is verification. Validation, nobody does it every day. They do it periodically or 6 months or a year. I said on special conditions, they'll do it like if the product is not consistent, there are more rejections, you have changed some spare parts, or you have changed the location of the machine to another place. Okay, you do validation. And one you do validation periodically every 6 months is, as I said, once you do the validation, which means it depends upon your sample size. How many samples are you applying statistics to it? Okay, in sterilization, why in clause 7.5.7 they mentioned sterilization very important is for sterile medical devices.
So one call is there, just wait 2 minutes. Hello.
Yeah,
Oh, just one call is there, sir.
yeah.
Sorry, sir. Okay.
Oh. So this validation, sterilization validation has to be carried out, okay? Because you can't do verification of sterilization. As I said, you can't destroy, after sterilization, you can't test every device. You test every device for sterilization, whether it is sterile or not, okay? There won't be any devices. It's not like you do 100% testing whether the device is sterile or not. You will only select, you have a sampling plan. Out of 1,000, I'll take 1% or 2%, then test it for sterility. But how to know the other devices are also sterile, other 99% are sterile? Okay, to prove it, we do validation. Okay,
Yes, sir.
and once you do the validation, which means like if you have done the validation, which means that this whatever devices you have sterilized, okay, by only testing couple of samples of devices, you can claim that all other devices will pass the sterility test or the bioburden or the endotoxin. So that is the reason why you do sterilization validation or validation of sterilization, which is a very key end process. The last process, okay, in any manufacturing is the sterilization process. After sterilization, of course, you may do packing. Packing means the outer packing. Okay, the inner packing for sterile products will be the sterile barrier system or the Tyvek pouches. There will be secondary packing. Okay, secondary packing generally use some bubble packs and all that. There will be tertiary packing, which comes with labels, brand name of that product. Okay, so you need to do the sterilization validation and validation of your sterile barrier system. Okay, sterile barrier system is the package which you are using as the outer packing material for your device, sterile device. Okay, I told you sterile barrier system is very, very important for sterile device because after sterilization, it should not ingress any of the organisms to go inside the packing. It may go inside the packing if the packing is damaged. Okay, otherwise the organism should not go inside the Tyvek pouch or the sterile barrier systems so that the product will remain sterile till the expiry date or the shelf life of the product. Okay. The other is monitoring, which I already discussed. You should have monitoring on your sterilization. One is to get your sterility test done. Okay. Sterility test, bioburden, endotoxin test done that your device is sterile. Some will use chemical indicators. Okay. Chemical indicators are the one which they keep before sterilization and they look at after sterilization, they look at the color. Okay, there will be color change after sterilization. Now, if the color change after sterilization, which means the sterility happened properly, or the sterilization process happened properly, but that is not the right indicator. Chemical indicators are used, but that's not the proper process. You need to use biological indicators. Okay, biological indicators are some of the organisms or spores that come in ampules. Okay, it could be different organisms like E. coli or Salmonella typhi or Escherichia coli, E. coli. These come in small ampules sealed. So these samples, what you do is you keep during sterilization, before sterilization, you keep it in the sterilizer. Okay. And you run throughout the sterilization. After sterilization, you take out these ampules, okay, or vials, okay, and you break them, break a top of them or crush them, and you keep them in the incubator. In the incubator, after keeping incubator for 7 days for bacteria and 14 days for the fungus, if there is growth, okay, already the bacteria or the fungus that is present in the vials, if there is a growth of them, the vial, the liquid in the vial will become, or the media in the vial becomes turbid. If it becomes turbid, which means the sterilization did not happen properly, because the organisms that are there in the vial are not killed. During sterilization, if the organisms are killed, okay, they won't grow when you keep it in the incubator. So the vial media will be clear. Okay, if the vial media is clear, which means the sterilization has happened properly, because the organisms have died or organisms are killed during the sterilization process. So the sterilization happened properly as validated. If the microorganisms in the vial are not killed, then you keep in the incubator. Incubator provides conducive environment, temperature, okay, for its growth. So when you keep in the incubator and they started growing, okay, which means that the sterilization didn't happen properly, because the organisms are still alive. The organisms are not dead. If they are not dead, they won't grow. Because they are not dead, when you keep in an incubator, they started growing. When they start growing, the media will become turbid, or the vial will become turbid. If they don't go, the media will be clear. So that is how you use biological indicators. There will be chemical indicators where there will be change of color. After sterilization, it will change from blue to green or red to yellow, something like that. But chemical indicators are not reliable. You should not depend on chemical indicators. It's always better to depend on your sterilization validation report, your sterility test reports, and your biological indicators. Okay. Chemical indicators sometimes show wrong results. Okay. When they show wrong results, then you'll think that it is sterile and you will sell the product which are unsterile. That will cause problem to the safety of the patient who uses it. So biological indicators are reliable. Okay, you should use these biological indicators. Okay. So in sterility, as I said, sterilization validation is important. Okay, sterile barrier system is important. The third one is the indicators that you use or how you monitor them. Sterilization monitoring. Whether, of course, you do monitoring by sterility testing. Okay, you also do the bioburden, you do the endotoxin testing. These three tests are important after sterilization. Even you can do before sterilization also. The second is the monitoring is done by chemical indicators but are not reliable. Okay, in some cases of sterilization, like steam sterilization, you can depend on chemical indicator. Okay, ethylene oxide, you can depend. But in some like gamma sterilization, aseptic sterilization, you can't depend on indicators. Basically, you don't use chemical indicators. We use biological indicators. So the biological indicators are more reliable. So first is sterilization validation, second is sterile barrier system. The third is monitoring of sterilization. Okay. by different parameters like sterility testing, bioburden, endotoxin, chemical indicators, and biological indicators. Okay. Clause 7.5.8 is the identification. This is very simple. I told you in the beginning that any manufacturing process should happen unidirectionally. Okay. From your raw material, your production, from the raw material transfer to production, the components, okay, from the components to the assembly, assembly to sterilization, sterilization to packing and labeling. All these processes should happen only in one direction. If there is a bidirectional flow, a reverse flow, okay, there sometimes you see some components coming back to the stores, or sometimes, I mean, it may happen some components you need to bring back to the store, or raw material from production you need to bring back to the stores. But during that time, you should be able to identify, okay, whether this material or the components are accepted or rejected. Is the final product rejected one or accepted one, or you need to rework, or you need to store it. Okay. So identification is to ensure product uniquely identified throughout all stages of realization and service provision, preventing mix-up. There should not be any mix-ups, and indicating their status. What is their status? This is a component, semi-finished product, accepted or rejected. Okay, which date it is manufactured. All that information, which batch of manufacturing. So you should have a labeling identification tag, okay, for all components. Rejected, accepted, you may have green tag, red tag, or yellow tag. When it, which batch it is manufactured, date of manufacturing, okay, and what is the status. Why this is necessary is to prevent mix-up of, because in a big manufacturing company, you have a lot of components that are manufactured. Okay, 2-3 lines will be running. If there is a mix-up, what happens is a rejected component may go into the accepted, and you will get a non-conformity or a rejected product, which you may not raise it. Of course, you may have control on it, but it is dangerous. So you need to have identification throughout your product realization. If you are doing design and development, you should label that these are for R&D. Okay, these are for production, and these are components. And you need to mention the size or the model, identification status, okay, whether accepted, rejected, manufacturing batch, which date manufactured, all that has to be done. So product identification, what is the type, size, model of that product from raw material. The product should be identified, and status of identification. At what status? Is it accepted? Is it for testing? Is it under quarantine? Is it rejected? Or it has to be reworked? So that is the status. The status you may have 4-5. Accepted, rejected. Okay, is it has to be reworked, or is it in quarantine, or it is under testing? Product identification is you should have the size of it, because many products or a single product will have a lot of models and sizes. It's not that you will produce only single size. You may have 1 ml, 10 ml, 20 ml. You have different sizes, models. Some you have, say, a U-shaped model or a straight model, a convex model. Okay. And what is the material? You may use different material for different models. So you need to have the product identification, which stage it is. Okay, what is the batch of it? What is the manufacturing date? Okay, all that has this product identification. Mainly the product identification, status identification is very, very important when you have basically more than one line of production. Even if you have one line of production also, you should see that there won't be any mix up of the components or devices that happens. Okay, I have seen in many cases this mix up happens. Okay, and finally it will lead to complication where the rejected product will be in market and will be used by the doctor in the patient, and it will cause lot of complaints. Okay, you can label them, you can use tags, batch numbers, lot numbers, status flags, lot of things are there. Okay, and the next comes 7.5.9 is the traceability. I said like traceability starts from your raw material, which batch of raw material, which batch of manufacturing, which batch of even components, which batch of your manufacturing, when you have done assembly, okay, when you have sterilized, and what are the samples you tested, all this till you market it. And some devices even have to be traced to the patient, like the implantables, orthopedic, dental, or cardiology implantables like stents, heart valves. You should know to which patient it is implanted. Okay, that's why you have implant cards which tell the patient name, address, age, so that you can trace the patient wherever he is. If there has a problem with the implant after 1 month or 2 months, you should know whether the implant is causing any problem. If it is a low risk devices, if you can trace up to the hospital, it is important. I told the importance of traceability. If there are complaints that are happening, same complaints happening, it helps you to recall so that the problem of complaints won't spread to other patients, won't spread to other hospitals. So you need to recall that back if there are any complaints on the products. Okay. And for this, you will have an unique identification number. I discussed this with you. Every device will have a UDI DI. Okay. It contains the device identifier. Okay. Device identifier. What is the model of the device, type of the device? Okay. And PI. DI is device identifier plus PI. PI is product identifier. Okay. Product identifier gives you the BMR, batch manufacturing records, like when it is manufactured, when it is going to expire, okay, and what is the serial number of it. So that is totally we call it as UDI, unique device identification. Okay, and I told you for high risk devices, you need to maintain the traceability. I said traceability must cover the components, manufacturing date, equipment, okay, the parameters, personnel, high-risk devices, implantable life support devices, the organization component traceability to suppliers, okay, to storage, name and address receiving the organization. And for that, the important thing is you will have a UDI, DI, or you can trace from, okay, device history file, or in India, basically we trace it from batch manufacturing records. We call them as BMR. BMR gives you everything from the raw material test reports, your components assembly, what are your QC reports, okay, what are your sterilization reports, everything will be there in BMR. So it will give you traceability. then to which hospital or which distributor you have supplied, that has to be recorded by the marketing team. Okay. So this is not so important, but for the OEM, if you are manufacturing for external parties, okay, or OBL, contract manufacturing, if you are doing manufacturing for other companies, or own brand labeling, you are manufacturing for other companies on loan license or something, this comes clause 7.5. What is the property of the customer? Okay, customer will give you lot of things. He will give you his designs. Okay, lot of documents that you need to do this process. He will tell you what this manufacturing process should be. He will give you his technical specifications. He may give you some samples. He may give you some raw materials. When the external party or the customer provides you all this, the first thing is you need to separately segregate them. You should not combine them with your manufacturing devices. Okay, with your documents. It has to be separately kept, okay, in a demarcated place or in a separate room, that this is the customer property. And you should label them. Okay, you should be able to identify and trace. Okay, this is customer component, this is the customer document, this is the customer specification, this is the customer material, and you have to name the customer. Okay, if you are manufacturing for 2-3 customers, lot of companies do components for a lot of customers. So how you are placing the customer product, how you are preserving the customer property? Because the customer property should not be damaged or lost. As per the customer agreements, it has to be properly stored, preserved, identified. Importantly, it has to be segregated from your manufacturing documents or devices or raw materials. So all this tells about that items supplied by an external party for use in manufacturing or servicing process are properly handled, verified and protected. Okay, identification and verification. First, you need to identify and verify that the customer has provided this property. Okay, and verify that it is good. Or you look at the documents, technical specifications, you verify them. Okay, these specifications are fine. This material is fine. This sample is fine. Okay, then you add a tag to it or label it. Then you safeguard it. You keep it segregated in a separate room under controlled environment where it has to be kept, monitoring the temperature, humidity, mainly the temperature and humidity. Okay, and regular monitoring so that it won't be damaged. Okay, that is what I know, safeguarding. It has, there should not be any damage or deterioration or loss of the customer property. First, you need to identify that this is customer property when you get it. Verify it whether you got the right material or right document or right samples. And reporting. Reporting is like you document like this is what I got from the customer. I got 10 things. I got this document, I got this material, I got these samples, I got these spares. Customers also give some molds or some spare parts. Okay, you have to record this. And reporting also means when you have damaged or when you have lost something, you need to report to the customer, okay, or any external property that this is lost or damaged, or you may say that this this spare part is found unsuitable, not suitable for the machine. Okay, immediately you need to record this. Okay, reporting is very important. You should not hide if you have damaged the customer property, not informing to him. So if it is lost, damaged, or it's not suitable, you need to inform. The first thing is you need to identify, verify, safeguard, segregate, place properly, label, and document it and report it. If you have damage, loss, you need to be reported. So you have receiving inspection records. These are all records. External property, storage, where you have stored it. Okay, if it is a non-conforming product, you need to report to it. Okay, this is what I also told. Preservation of the product. Okay, to protect the product from damage or deterioration during internal processing, handling, or storage, or packing, or delivery. Okay, how you preserve your product from the raw material till the point of use, till it goes to the hospital, from your raw material, how you are preserving. Okay, in this you have 4 points. How you are handling. Okay, mainly the documentation for safe handling, electrostatic discharge, because once you have the material coming in, you need to keep in the quarantine, clean it up. Okay, clean the packing. You need to properly handle it. You need to know how to open it. Okay, and where you need to store it, because different material has to be stored in different temperature and humidity. If they are plastics, if they are polymers, if they are metals, if they are metals of different alloys, if they are metals of steel or iron, if they are solvents. Okay, solvents basically are combustible, where you will store them. Okay, if it is a gas, you will get a lot of gases in nitrogen gas or oxygen or ethylene oxide. There will be of high pressure where you have to store them. So you should you should know what are the proper storage conditions. Okay, so that it may not cause, first is damage to the product, second is damage to the personal who is working on it or taking it from the stores or working on it should not cause damage to the personnel. And third thing is it should not cause damage to the facility. Suppose there is some combustible solvents and suddenly there is a spark and gets fire. What are the precautions you have to handle them? Okay, if there are some polymers, because polymers are easily affected by temperature and humidity, how you store them? So every material, whatever you get as a raw material, as a semi-finished product, as a finished product, okay, you should have proper storage conditions, first thing. Second thing is you should have a proper record of the materials, incoming material, what is outgoing, how much you are getting, how much you are using, and how much is remaining. Okay, what is the stock? How much you got, what is the stock you got, how much you have used, okay, and how much is remaining. Okay, all that records has to be maintained. Generally, we call it as inventory control. Inventory control is what I told. How much is received, how much is used, how much is in stock. Okay, storage conditions includes environment, including temperature, humidity, lighting controls with monitoring records, inventory control, first in, first out. First in, first out means whatever gets first raw material should be the first material that has to be used. Okay, even the devices also, finished device also, the first manufactured ones should go first to the hospital. That is called first in, first out process. Every company follows this. Okay, and it follows like that. Whatever comes first, that you need to use first, not the last one. Because if you lose the last one, the first one will get expired. So first in, first out. Even finished products also first in. If you have sterilized and it packaged and ready, then it has to go first, not the last. Okay, that is first in, first out. You have to do the expiry date management, all that stuff. Packing is very important. That's why I said packing validation is one of the important validation. What are the materials used? I said there will be 3 layers of packing. One is primary packing. Okay, basically it has Tyvek pouches and all that. Okay, secondary packing with bubble packs and with some packages so that it can absorb any vibrations, not causing damage. Okay, and the third packaging will be the basically the outside box. Okay, with proper label, dimensions. Okay, labeling and packing is very important. What is the label on that? So on the packing, you'll have the labeling. What is the device? What is the expiry date? What is the manufacturing date? Okay, what is the batch number, serial number, instructions of use, how to remove the packing. Okay, and the brand name or the company name, the license name, the generic name, everything will be there on the packing, outer box of the packing, and also the inner box, not on the secondary pack.
Yes.
Okay, and you should be very careful when you are doing transit of transportation of the material, that the packing should not get damaged, because some you use roadway, okay, on road, and some you use if you are exporting to other countries, mainly you use airways or through air, but I have not seen any company. Some machinery will be transported through sea, through ships, mainly the big machinery, but mainly the devices, manufactured devices or raw materials are either transported through road or through air. Equipment and machinery, big machinery are transported through sea. Okay, but you should see that the packing should not get damaged. So for machinery, there will be perfect packing done with they'll have a outer wooden packing, okay, inner cushioning, like so that the parts won't get damaged. Okay, all IFU should be there, labeling should be there, instruction manual should be there if it is machinery, all that. Okay, and delivery. After the transportation, you should see that proper delivery should happen to the right place, okay, to the right person, and after the delivery, you should have the record, okay, or the delivery receipt that it has reached to the right place and right person. So the delivery receipt has to be taken. So in here you have preservation of products, how you handle it, okay, how you storage, how you do the packing, how you do the delivery. Okay, so the key compliances are storage conditions, as I said, monitoring temperature, humidity, inventory control. That's what I mentioned. How much stock you got, how much you use, okay, how much has been still in place. This is called FIFO. FIFO is nothing but first in, first out. Okay, in short, we call it FIFO. FIFO is first in, first out. Whatever first comes should go first out, like the queue. Okay. In the queue, whoever comes first has to go first. Okay, packing work instructions, shipping verification records, all this will be there in preservation of product. Okay, these are some of the compliance checkpoints, some NCs on all the clause. This is for your notes.
Yes, sir.
What the auditor will ask. Okay, what is the audit evidence? Okay, then you go for lunch. After lunch, I'll complete class 8. Okay,
Sir, is it? Are you busy tomorrow?
should I tell class 8 tomorrow?
Because one call came, sir, for medical emergency. Mhm.
Acha, you can go. Tomorrow morning, I'll
Around
tell.
morning, can we make plans, sir, like tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow morning we'll plan it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, thank you. Around
Yeah, and
2:30 they need to come.
10:30.
No, sir. Like 2:30, 3 o'clock. I need to go there, sir. Like hospital here.
Yeah, tomorrow 10:30 we'll start it.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, and Venkatesh, one more reminder for the regular sessions on Saturday and Thursdays.
Sir.
You need to transfer the amount of 4,500.
Okay.
When you'll do it?
Sir, actually, that I'm not able to attending properly, sir. Like not getting some issues, sir. Hmm.
Okay.
So first I'll throw this one, sir. Once I get it job, means can I do that
Okay,
one?
you can attend. Okay, fine.
Sir, I'm completely focusing on first priority job, sir. I
Okay,
will complete it like this knowledge, like experience some doubts, all those things here.
okay, no
Once
problem. No.
immediately I got it any offer, means definitely I will join and I'll continue that course better.
Okay, no problem. Tomorrow we'll
Okay.
contact.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Take care.